Hi, this is Dan Heisman, Philly tutor for Chess FM. This is the Improve Your Chess series for ICC members. In today's video, we're going to look at an amateur game played at a 30-30 rate. All right, white plays e4, black plays e5, white plays knight f3, black plays knight c6, bishop b5, Ruy Lopez, a6, main line, bishop a4, main line, knight f6, main line. These are all not the only moves, but these are the main moves. Castles. d3 is somewhat popular now among grandmasters, just avoids a lot of the theory with castles. It's not necessarily better. Bishop e7, main line of the closed defense. Knight takes e4 would be the open. Rook e1, main line, and as soon as white guards this pawn in any manner, he's now threatening bishop takes c6, d takes c6, knight takes e5, winning a pawn. I've seen that happen many, many times. In fact, I've seen it happen where black doesn't stop it, and then white doesn't even know he's winning a pawn because he thinks he's in the main line. But black understands here, and he plays b5, and that's one of the reasons why you play a6 early, is so that you can play b5 now and stop the removal of the guard. Bishop b3, and now in the old days, black used to play d6 for the closed Ruy Lopez and castles for the martial attack, but these days, grandmasters play castles a lot anyway, even if they're going to play the closed Ruy Lopez, because they're not afraid of the anti-martial variations that white might play against castles. In this case, black just plays the old move, d6. White plays c3. Black plays castles. And now d4 is a little bit awkward because black can play bishop g4, threatening to remove guards on the d4 square. So white plays the main move, which is h3. And this is the tabi position for the closed Ruy Lopez. And now black has many, many moves. All right, let's see if we can find what they are. Knight a5 is the classical variation. Knight b8 is the Breyer variation. I think knight d7 might be the Perez variation. h6, some people call that the Smyslov variation. But in this game, white plays the Zaitsev variation. Now, the Zaitsev was not very popular when I first started playing chess many, many years ago, because people thought the rook couldn't go to e8 because of knight to g5. But it turns out white can't get any more than a draw, so it turns out black can play this without worry unless he's worried about white forcing a draw. So white plays d4 as he does against almost every one of those lines I just showed you. Black plays rook to e8. And now he's going to put the bishop back on f8 and get pressure on the e-pawn. White plays knight bd2, overprotecting the e-pawn against the future threats. Black does play bishop f8. And now if white wants to move the knight around, he needs another guard, so he can play bishop c2. He can also precede that with the common maneuver a4 here. Instead, he slows down and he makes a fairly big mistake, knight to f1. Now, this is very indicative about how people kind of mislearn how to play chess. Here's two players in the mid-thousands, and they're playing a very sophisticated opening, and they understand it, or at least they memorized it for 11 moves. And they must have spent time studying openings to know it this far. And yet, here, white simply removes his own guard and allows black a discovered attack where he's got 2-to-1 counting error on the E file. So white spent a lot of time learning Ruy Lopez openings and maybe doesn't spend as much time learning how to check to see if his moves are safe. Now, one of the things that's interesting is after knight takes f1, if black plays pawn takes, it looks like he's got two ways to take the pawn. But it turns out both of them are tricky. I don't know if that's what white saw when he played knight f1. I rather doubt it, but let's take a look. If knight takes e4, white has the pseudo-sacrifice, rook takes e4, rook takes e4. And now bishop takes f7 check, king takes knight g5 check doesn't work because black doesn't have to take on f7. He can just play